Hey guys, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Just again having some audio issues. It's something to do with my wireless mic and the software, streaming software that I've got. It picks it up and then it drops it, and it picks it up and it drops it. So just let me know that you can hear me, and we'll get rolling here right away. Maybe we'll do a software upgrade. Maybe that's the problem with this. I don't know why, but it's free software, obviously, so it's not like I'm paying for any of the latest and greatest technology, but by all means, it should be working a little bit better than what it is, unfortunately. I like it because I'd pay for a different software to do it, but it does what I need it to do. I got to do recorded videos and I got to do live streaming, and it's really super simple, and that's kind of what I like, is the simplicity about it. And so I haven't switched over. I haven't found anything any less complicated lately. Yeah, you can buy stuff online. That's all, bells and whistles and everything. We don't really need that. Sorry guys, I just got to type a quick note here. Got to send out a quick session link, and then we're going to get going. So I hope you all are having a great day today. My day was very, very busy, and I'm really going to keep getting busier here. So I wanted to crank out a quick London Open session, because I was about an hour behind getting on here, unfortunately. Just again, with my whole day and everything, I wasn't able to get on until now. So which is fine, because we're right in the sort of the start of London Open, and we should see a little bit of movement happening here, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit. So a couple of levels that I'm looking for currently: this 93.35 level and 91.75, basically this orange line down here. It's 91.76, but for all intents and purposes 91.75. I'm looking for price just to return back down to here. Now, what we could see here is one of two things really is gonna happen. Price is gonna keep running up here, potentially tag out the 93 level, and then maybe fall off. And I'd be looking for price, if it does that, to take out 91.75 or come down and tag into that. So that would be great if we would see something like this happen this week, just a kind of a short-term pop-up, and then price come back down, and then we kind of see a bounce here and then resume higher. That would be great, because I think there is a lot of draw on price above these highs in here, and ultimately these equal highs up here. Price hasn't been up there for since obviously the end of 2017 or middle of 2017. So definitely liquidity riding above the market in here, and I'll just maybe mark that out here, and right here as well too. Lots of liquidity above there. So just keep that in mind when trading. And 1 second, guys. I just want to send out a real quick note on Instagram, letting everybody know we're live and trading here. Okay. Good enough. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at on if something like this were to happen. Now, what they could do is they could just, the other option here, I was saying one of two options, is they could just run this thing straight up. I would be definitely looking for some type of a bounce, though, at this 93.35 level. I mean, it may not be a deep bounce or anything like that, but I would expect a little bit of a pullback, potentially back down to the small consolidation area that we're just starting to leave here now, and then a resume higher, obviously, to take out these highs here. This is where I'm looking at long term. By the end of May, we could easily trade up there, but I definitely would like to see them trade back down here a little bit before. So that could be what we could see this week. Now, if I go down to an hourly, you can see here price has just been really hasn't returned to clear up any of the stops anywhere since we left the consolidation, which was back into here. You can see they came down here, retagged off of this small consolidation area, and from there we never looked back, just straight up candles ever since. And again, there's definitely a lot of liquidity under the market here, and this is that area that I was talking about, 91.75 rate in here, and that just brings us basically back down to these highs in here, 91.75 or 91.70, somewhere in there, 91.60. That's kind of where I'm looking price to come back down to. And if we fail if we fail to bounce in here, then I definitely see these equal lows in here. I'd definitely be looking for those to get swept. So on the downside, that's where I'd be looking. But as you can see, price is definitely making a nice little rally off of Monday's low here. So price really didn't spend too much time any lower. They really had no willingness to come under the market here. You can see this as well too. I just want to point this out. If you look at this, they did a real good job of creating a floor on this, and they let's just do this here. Let's make sure we got an even number here. Oops. Okay. Oops. Hang on. All right, sorry, 1 second, guys. I gotta get these things straight. 165. There we go. Okay. Drives me crazy when these trend lines aren't straight. So you can see down here, relatively equal lows. They really did not want to come down and scoop up any of the liquidity under here. They did it here as well too. They slammed it down and really failed to get under here and come back and tag into these areas here. So I think they could run back down to these levels. They're really setting it up for a nice run lower, for sure. But as you can see, I mean, from Monday's open and really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours into Monday, they just screamed this thing higher, took out last week's highs, and so far it doesn't seem like they want to come off of that at all. So very, very bullish, without question. Okay, and again, lots of room to the upside that I can see is still left. So it could be one of those weeks where we just Monday could have set the low of the week, right in here. That could have been, sorry, that was Friday. That was non-farm, by the way. This small movement in here, that was non-farm on Friday. Right there, this could have been the low on the week. I doubt it. I'm kind of suspecting this. So what I'd like to see here, I'm going to go down to a 15-minute. So what I'd like to kind of see happen here is see what price does in here. Now, one of two things. If price breaks, see this candle right here. If price breaks there, then I'm going to see if they want to come up and do one of two things: equal high and then drop price, or just run 1, 2 pips or maximum 10 pips above and then drop price. If they did run it 10 pips above, that also kind of takes us into where are we here? So what's the high? I'm just going to get the high on this just so I got a reference on this. So the high on this candle comes in at, on this feed here anyway, 92.80. I want to zoom in a little bit here. And so 92.80 is this level. I'm going to just borrow a level here. I want to get some precise movement here, just so we all know what we're talking about. Okay, so the high comes in at 92.80, right about, call it there, good enough. It could run to 92.90, and as I was saying, that kind of 10 pip sweep above the high, and that would sort of bring us back down to this small consolidation level right in here, right in this area right in here, which would be 10 pips above the high that it created yesterday's trading. If I can get 90 on this chart. Hang on, let me just bring this up here. So that's kind of what could pan out going into London Open here, and it may take a little while to run its course. We're not quite there yet, but we're close. So I just want to see what price does once it starts accelerating higher. If we fail here, okay, great, we're going to roll over, and then I'll be looking for them to sweep these lows here, and then we can obviously correlate that obviously out to other pairs, you know, Euro USD, pound dollar, etc., etc., etc. We can look for setups there. But I want to see the strength on this movement. They like I said, they had no willingness to come down to sweep the intermediate lows here from yesterday, and they've just been going steadily higher. So I want to see what happens when price gets up to these levels. I don't want to take a trade yet because I just, you know, again, we could see failure here or here. If we do see failure, we can get a setup. However, if price wants to continue and just keep steamrolling higher, then we've obviously got our targets up here that we're going to look for, but we don't know what it's going to do. And it's right now, like, let's say, for example, we wanted to go long on the US dollar. Okay, great. I don't want to necessarily go long until price asserts itself in this area. Are we going to go above this yesterday's high here and continue? No problem. It'll push up higher, come back down, retrace, and then go. No problem. We can get long in there. There's lots of time. But I'd hate to go in and say, okay, well, let's go ahead and get long here. So you get long, they run price up, you know, 10 pips from here, and then sink it and stop everybody out. So that's sort of what I'm looking at here. I definitely don't want to get into the market quite yet. I want to see, it definitely has shown no real willingness to come down, and it's really leaving a lot of very logical levels where we could see price come back down to. Like I say, this one here for sure, tons of liquidity is sitting underneath there, and they just have not done a stop run for quite some time. Basically, this entire bull run, they have not done a single stop run anywhere. And this was the old consolidation here that we just recently came out of, so I'll just bring that up. You see that all the way up. So anyway, not that we can't get our setups from there. Like I say, I mean, we just got to have the levels marked on the chart where we think price could go, and once they get there, you got to look at where they're reacting. So let me see if I can grab this and bring it down there, because again, lots of liquidity under here. So if we just soup these, so if we just go up and just fail to get above here, or just squeak above this high, and I can refine that a little bit, bring that down, squeak above this high and then fall off, then we'll know this intraday, this could be an easy target to shoot for Tuesday's trading. And if they want to show continued weakness, really, if they take out this low, so you see this here, this is the open of the week. Come on, give me this line. You see price right here opened up. That's the opening of the week right there. So if we lose this level, if price trades lower than here, oh man, I hate it when it does that. 31.839. Wow. Okay, hang on. Wait, one second, guys. 399 and 399. Okay, good enough. So if we lose this level here, and maybe I'll just make this a red line here so everyone can really discern the difference here, what I got going on this chart. Then I believe they're definitely going to be going for the lows under the price. So this level here, so I don't want to see this come down. I mean, it could too. Let's say we get short in here. Let's say we look at this and say, okay, you know, price came up, it souped this old high here, ran a couple pips up, it's dropping, it's starting to scream down, so let's get short, and we have our target in here. Well, you know, I'd be looking for about a 10 pip run under here, and I wanted to see what price does at this open candle here. If it fails to get lower and reject, and then we run higher, but this is the weekly open, and we've already run down and created essentially the wick on the weekly open candles. So if we do want to go lower than here, then I'm going to expect that we are going to finish lower on the week, and it's going to look, and the weekly candle, as you can see right here, that's this week's candle. This is Monday and so far Tuesday open trading. This would look like a bear candle, a big black down candle, and hopefully finish somewhere in here. So that's what we could be looking at. But like I say, you know, we're just going to kind of have to watch price here for about the next hour or so and see sort of what it wants to do. But we can definitely pull some setups and get some levels on here, and create our game plan going forward. So Let's just zip over to Euro USD. As you can see, right over here, there's those two equal lows that I was discussing. Same thing on the US dollar that exists in the Euro USD. So we got our levels there. So if we come down and we just sweep this low here and we fail, maybe we run, you know, 10, 15 pips under here, sweep it and reject, then we'll obviously look for here and potentially up into here, several levels up here that I think could be a target. And let's say we got price running from there to there. That'd be about a nice 100 pip run. So on Euro USD, that would be a good range for the day for sure for a Tuesday, Wednesday trade. So we can look for that setup to happen. And, you know, like I say, the other option that they do is they just start screaming this thing down right now. And price has been respecting very logical areas. They've ran up, ran price down, came back, tagged into these lows in here, ran off, slight retrace back into the small consolidation area in here. And so far we're running off. So I think it's very likely that they are going to run this low down in here. And you know, but I don't know how low they're going to take it. We're already underneath this level in here on the Euro USD, and that's a very significant level, 119.15 level. So we ran that convincingly yesterday, and so far today we're through that as well. So longer term, for the close of the week, I'd be looking at the 117.10 level getting tagged if we see continued bearishness. Euro and continued bullishness in the pound, the U.S. dollar, obviously. So, one second here, guys. Sorry, I just had to write a quick note here. And let me know, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Like I say, I was having some audio issues, so if you could just type in the chat that you guys can hear me loud and clear, I would appreciate that, just so I know I'm not talking to myself. It should be. I've got the sound bar going here on my mic. Looks like it's registering, but like I say, I was just having some problems there. You know what I can do, actually? Give me 1 sec. I'll just double check this in an incognito window and make sure, because I believe I can Control V, paste. Oh, you know what? I'm wondering here if we're having an issue. Can you guys just tell me if you can hear me or not? Maybe 1 more second. If you guys can, if are on this and listening. I'm just going to see if I can't just confirm that the audio is working here. 1 more second, guys. Apologies. Oh, you know what? Sorry, guys. I'm hang on. I was in the wrong. I just posted the links into the wrong chat room. Okay, let's try this again here. Sorry about that, guys. Get rolling here again. So anyway, if you're just getting on, it's pretty much I'm looking at a couple of levels here on the euro, and I'm going to run through the cable. But I think the euro, I just want to see, like I say, as prices trading. Moving forward here, I want to see if it has any willingness to sweep the low in here. And if it does, I want to see it run maybe 10, maybe 15 pips down, and then potentially sweep the lows, grab the stops, and then just start to run higher. And I'd be looking for targets up here and potentially above these highs over here. Same type of idea on the pound dollar. Now, I want to get a line on the Euro GBP. As you can see here, Euro GBP, before I go into the pound dollar, I just wanted to get a line on here. They have been very, very bullish on Euro GBP. And if this bullishness continues, we could see the pound dollar drop. But as you can see here, it's just sort of been sitting sideways since Friday. Friday created a low on the week, but really has failed to go anywhere. It's been sort of an inside trading day on the pound dollar. And you can see here they just kind of swept yesterday's highs just slightly by about 3 pips or so here, and then have fallen off. So I'm going to be looking to see what they're going to do basically right at the lows in here. If they don't want to come any higher than here, then I'm going to assume the Euro GBP is going to continue to push higher. So this could be a failure swing down here, another round in continuation higher, and we should see lower prices in the pound dollar. So I'm going to be watching this level right there, basically, for them to continue lower, if that is the case. But you can see here how Monday, again, it opened up right here. This was the open. I'm going to grab this. This was the open of the week right there. And price basically has been trading very nicely off of that level. Ran down one time late in the day. Sweep the lows from Friday, or the close, I should say, of Friday, and then has expanded nicely off of that. So again, same type of idea as the euro. Nice equal highs in here, so I think that could definitely be a target if it wants to continue to run higher, but it's got to get much higher than its current level of 135.50. So we got to sort of just wait and see. And again, if you're just joining us right now, thanks for jumping on, but I was just saying the US dollar, I want to see what its intentions are on the week before I start issuing any trade signals. Again, I think we could just see, if it does push higher from here, I want to see if price has a willingness to reject at this level. If it just wants to run 10 pips above the old high here, reject, and then come lower, I'd be looking for these stops to get run here, and then ultimately these stops in here, which is a big target. I'll put another X right down here. If that does happen, then obviously we will see continued bullishness in the pound dollar and the euro USD. But it's just a little too early to tell right now. So I want to sort of see how price develops a little bit further into the London session before I can send anything out with confidence. But you can see here, price has really been respecting a lot of these consolidation areas very nicely. But honestly, the pound, there's a ton of news on the pound as well this week. We could see some movement, but there really hasn't been, like ever since Thursday of last week, which is right here. We had a big down day on Tuesday, and then Wednesday kind of really didn't do a whole lot, fell slightly lower. Thursday, the same kind of thing, but pretty much finished. It was a doji. If you look at a daily, this was pretty much a doji candle. It opened at almost the exact same spot that it closed. And then Friday, we had a nice down day last week with NFP. But then so far, it's just really been trading sort of sideways. Really an inside day. It has not got any higher or any lower the entire week, this week, of what it did in the range that I put in on Friday. So, it's kind of just trading right on the inside of things right now. So I don't know that I'm going to see a huge setup on this yet. I think the trade could be in the euro for Tuesday, and then we may see the pound dollar start to get a little more movement behind it starting into Wednesday's trading. But we'll just have to see. Like I say, it's all kind of going to fall into place here once the euro GBP starts to pick up some momentum either way. You can see here they convincingly closed above these highs here very nicely, pushed price up, and so far we've seen a rejection, but it's failed to get past this small consolidation rate in here. Yesterday it tried to do it, pierced down, failed, and rejected, and now we're just kind of sitting here right now in limbo for the past right, very, very tight range in here. So we're going to want to see, I just want to see what this is going to do. If we're going to see continued further push lower, then we should see the pound dollar rise. If this starts to kick higher, then we're going to see that drop lower in the pound. And if it does drop lower, then again on the daily, there's several significant levels in here, this being a big one. And I'm going to put a price tag on this so y'all can see this. So 13300 big figure right in there. That would be an area, if we see continued bearishness on the pound, that I think they could be reaching for. Really sold off nicely though. Big aggressive sell-off. And the other thing we could see as well too, up until Thursday, is price could just sit there on the pound and go straight sideways for the rest of the week. And then all that news coming out on Thursday, it could start to push it one way or the other. But tons of areas of liquidity above price. This whole run down here, this would be very easy. If they started creating the low in here, this would be very easy to pick off the daily targets that they'd be reaching for. Going up, going down, same type of thing. Lots of easy targets to reach for that I think price is going to tag into, i.e. this big one right here, which is about 250 pips away. So we could easily capture that in the weekly range this week. I'm not saying that this is the low, but we could see a slight retrace higher, and that would be, I think, 13700 there in abouts would be, if it does run higher, that would be sort of where I'd be targeting on the week, which, again, it's about another 150 pips or so above where we're at right now. So a nice easy range to shoot from. So, but that's sort of what I'm looking at transpire. But again, just a little bit too early. Want to see what happens in here. We could get some failure. If the US dollar starts to fail at either A, current levels right now, this could be the failure in here, B, this level that I picked out on the 15-minute chart, or C, this level above here, then we'll know that they want to take this thing lower, and I'll be looking at this line right here to get hit, and a continuation lower, and then this was the high of the week, and really failure swing in today, and then lower. So that's sort of what I'm looking at. US CAD, looking at this pair here, again, lots of room above and below the market, and it's just sitting in a very tight range here right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they do run the US dollar lower. That could finally be that that linchpin that finally pulls the all the cards that have been holding this consolidation level up, and we could see a rip lower. And I'd be looking at either these lows to get swept or these old highs in here to get tagged and returned to. Either way, on the downside, could be a very nice trade from current levels. Either 200, 300 pips, or a sweep down here would be close to 400 pips. So very nice trade that could be setting up on the US CAD. On the upside, let's say, for instance, the US dollar just, this was the low here that it made last week, and it does not want to return back under there. Then it's going to start screaming higher. Then we could see US CAD start to break out of this range, and we could start to see either the lows up here get tagged in, or again a sweep above. So right now we are just almost smack dab at 50% of this range, from this high to this low. We're right in the middle of that range right now. So I don't want to put out, this could go either way. It really could, and it's going to be dependent on the US dollar and also crude oil, which is an interesting topic in itself I was going to talk about here in a few minutes. But that's sort of what I'm looking at on US CAD. Okay. Before I get into crude oil, I just wanted to have a couple of look-sees here and see where we're at on a couple of levels that I was looking at. So it looks like I put a signal out here for sugar, and I'm just looking out. We've got to run down to 11:23.5 basically on this feed here, and I'm just currently, give me 1 second here. I'm just currently looking. I've got another feed here where price had failed to go down lower, and the low came in at 120 or 11:26. So I actually have a stop at 11:25, and price hasn't hit it. So just depending on what feed you are, I put a signal out for sugar a little while ago there, and I was actually it was here, so it was last week, and we got a nice bull run up, and since it's coming back down and retesting the lows again, so it's pretty much at about the low that I want it to go. I don't want to see it really go any lower than this small consolidation range in here. That's pretty much about as far as I want it to go. Basically the low here. So I don't know if you, depending on again what feed you've been trading off of, but the demo account I can show you here has not come down and taken it out yet. The price only came down to, again, 11:26. So we'll have to see that transpire. I'll be watching that going into CME Open here, into New York here in the next few hours. So not too many other commodities I want to discuss here that I see, other than coffee could be setting up for a good opportunity to go long. I'm going to watch for this one to come down and just potentially clean in this little gap that they got in here. They did come down once, but there could be another area a little bit lower that they want to grab. So I want to watch that one. Not much on cocoa and copper, and that's pretty much about it. I wanted to talk about commodities. So real quick, Bitcoin, let's have a look at this. I actually haven't looked at Bitcoin for a couple of days now, just because it's still really been trading sideways in this consolidation, and there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. Price isn't doing a whole lot with this, as you can see here. It's just really been trading sideways. So this was after this run here and this little pop. It's just been sitting straight sideways, and I kind of stopped watching it right about in here, and there really hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. So price could be putting in a bit of a failure. I'd be looking for price to potentially run up to about this level right here. And this is if you're a Bitcoin trader. I don't know if you are or not, but I'd be looking for price to run back up to this level here and see what the willingness to continue higher is. And that's basically just the lows in here that they could want to come back in and retest if they are indeed going to go lower. So we'll watch for that. I am predicting lower lows to be put in on Bitcoin. I think they're going to come back down and sweep these lows under here and ultimately this one here. But I think we could see a little more movement potentially to the upside here. In this 1050 level, 10,500 level, that's sort of the area that I was looking for price to reverse in. So we'll just watch that. But like I say, not much to talk about. It just hasn't really been doing anything, so to speak, here going forward. So that's that for commodities and crypto and everything else. Like I say, it's just a bit of a waiting game right now. I want to see what price is going to do on the US dollar. So far, price is respecting these creating higher lows all the way up, and I want to see, right, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So if that is going to be continuing, then we could see price again run and push up into there. And but right now it's just sort of right in the middle of this one big range right here. We're just sort of sitting right in the middle of it. So I want to see if it has any strength to push up, and when it does, I want to see if this is going to get run, and then ultimately that, if they do continue to run it higher. So that's sort of what I'm looking at. Here going forward. If you guys are on the chat and you want me to talk about any specific pair that you're looking at, let me know, and I'll have a look into that. 126. What is that? Sorry, guys. I was just reading something here. Could go higher than that. I don't know if, one second here, guys. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was just reading a comment here from one of my guys in the group here. He was talking about euro long and picking a specific target on the chart. I think it could go higher than what, yeah, on the long side. I'd be looking for price to return. See the small consolidation level in here? I'd be looking for price to actually, on the upside, if it does in fact fail here and want to go higher on the week, I'd actually be looking at price to potentially run up into here. Now on my feed, maybe I should just double check feeds here for one quick second, because he could just be on a different feed and it could be offering two separate prices. So let me just grab this. Templates. Okay. So basically, I'd be looking for price to retag off of here, and that comes in at 120.55. So I think the upside, it could run higher than this candle here, and potentially get back into the lows in here, if that is what's going to play out on the week. But again, same type of idea, right? I mean, I'm just waiting to see if this is going to be the failure in here, or if price wants to continue running a bit lower. So we're just going to basically play the waiting game here. No rush. It's just Tuesday. There's lots of trading left to happen. You can see how price came down, been wicking in here, and so far has failed to come back down to this red line. If price does not want to come down and pierce through that and close under there, then we will be looking to take price higher for the rest of Tuesday anyway. So I'm going to be watching for that. But anyway, again, if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to pop into the charts or into the chat, I can have a look at that. Or if there's any charts you want me to run through quickly, I can certainly have a look at those for you. But just let me know what you're looking at here. And like I say, I mean, it's not a ton to talk about. I mean, fundamentally speaking, I'm just going to pull up the Forex Factory here, and let's have a quick peek at some of the numbers that we're looking at here. So Monday's done. Tuesday we've got, this is interesting here, right? Why would they have one of the Fed members speaking at 3:15 a.m. for US dollar news? It's very interesting. I'm just going to do a quick refresh. So this is going to happen. This is going to land here in about the next hour and 25 minutes. So could be very interesting. And then they got Trump Yap in here at the end of trading on Tuesday. So very interesting. He could be talking about. I think this is going to be regarding a number of things with Iran and with the trade wars right now that he's doing with China and several other hot topic news events here. So we could see a late in the day sort of run on the US dollar, either way, really. But this Fed Chair Powell speaking at this time, it's kind of interesting looking at that. And you can see here going to be lots of movement in the US dollar for Wednesday. And then Thursday, that was the day that I was talking about the pound dollar. Lots going on in the pound dollar. I would highly suggest if you have a trade on the pound, you either get in now and you're holding out for the weekly range, and the whipsaw that's going to happen on Thursday isn't going to affect you, or you wait until this whipsaw is done and then you start trading it, because either way, this is going to really set price off on the pound. So unless you got a crystal ball, I'd probably recommend staying out of that. But that's just me. So anyway, like I say, we're just kind of playing the waiting game, so I don't have a whole ton more here to discuss with you guys. If you have any questions, like I say, throw them up in the chat there, or if you got another pair that you want me to have a peek at, let me know. I'll certainly check those out for you here, but that's pretty much it. You got the levels I'm looking for. just playing the waiting game right now. And you can see here, like, this is literally, right, 50% range, trading right there. Price could go lower, price could go higher. It hasn't set a discernible direction yet. And I got a couple of levels that I'm looking at, but you know, like I say, I don't want to jump into anything yet because we could still see. So, you know, let's say we're going short and we're targeting down here for the day. You know, that's great. I'm not going to get short here. I'd probably set a limit order in, a short limit order in, and would execute. Honestly, I'd probably execute right above the highs here, but we could see a failure swing in here. As I say, this old low right here, where price came down here, that could be the target, and then we could see a run high, much lower from there. So if you did set a limit order in, because you don't want to sit and watch price trade for the next couple hours, you know, it could miss your entry, which, you know, happens all the time, but it is what it is. So you either got to sit in front of charts and watch it, which unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that right now because I do have other commitments, but set the levels and way to go. So anyway, I appreciate you guys coming in today. And so just going forward, just so you know, a bit of a crazy week for me this week here. As it was last week, I wasn't really able to be in front of the charts a whole bunch last week, unfortunately. I had some personal issues that had come up, and it had taken me away from the charts quite pretty much from Wednesday on of last week. So going forward this week here, just to let you guys know, I'm going to be, Dave will be in on Wednesday morning, of course, doing what he always does on the S&P gold and US yen pair. And he'll be discussing a bunch of levels. He'll do an overall market review as well, too, for you guys. I'll be back on, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. I'll be back in on Thursday for sure. To do a I'd like to do a London session on Thursday, and only because of all that news that's going on the pound dollar, I want to see if I can't look at some setups where it comes in on Thursday. But right now I'll say I'll do a London. So basically this time on Thursday I'll definitely come in and do a session, and I might even pop on as well too. Maybe New York tomorrow I might pop on. For Wednesday morning, for Tuesday morning, and then maybe a New York into Thursday just to see some of that pound fluctuation happen while it's happening. So we'll kind of see how it goes, but I'll give you guys lots of updates. I'll send out lots of notice, you know, tweets and everything else to kind of give you the heads up as to when I'm looking at getting on. I'll give you guys a couple hours to jump on, but I'd like to be in front of the charts quite a bit this week just to sort of make up for last week's absence and sort of get back in tune with the markets again here. And, you know, it's kind of funny, you get taken out of the markets for a few days there, and you definitely, you got to really play catch up. So, you know, last week wasn't a huge week to discuss, you know, essentially. I mean, like, here's the Euro USD. This is the end of the week consolidation, and it looks like it's just starting to leave it now, one way or the other. Same thing with the pound dollar. Euro GBP, same type of thing, right? Not making a whole lot of movement all the last week. So I guess if I had to take an US CAD, obviously we all know what that's doing. But I haven't talked about the US dollar because I don't want to talk about this until the 12th. Trump's coming out with some news on the 12th, just so you guys know about the sanctions going on in Iran. So if he decides to continue with the program and stay all in, then we could see crude rise. If he says forget about it, then Iran will flood the market and throw probably another 500,000 to 1 million barrels a day onto the market. It's probably going to drop price, and so I don't want to look at anything crude related until after the 12th. So if you are a crude oil trader, just keep that in mind, guys. You know, by all means, go ahead and trade it up until the 12th, but I would definitely wait. Do not go into the weekend with positions on for crude, because you could definitely get hammered out, and it could be a big one if, again, if Trump decides to, you know, do what he's going to do over there. So we're going to have to watch that one. And really, there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about on this market because price has just been chopping sideways for the past 2 weeks. So I haven't really been doing a lot of discussion on crude oil. You can see here, there's the consolidation, just going straight sideways. Really, the bodies really have not left this small consolidation range. So up until just like I say on Friday, and this was Monday's that sort of wicked up here, so I want to see what they're going to do. But again, not a whole lot to talk about on crude. So I don't know why I brought that up. I was just discussing that a few things there. U.S. dollar looks like it's seeing a lot of weakness in here. So this could be a failure swing right in here. If we clear these lows and fail to get... If price fails to bounce in this level right here, then it's going to clear these lows off in a big hurry. You know, the other move that it could be doing as well, too, is it could just do something like this. Do a quick run down, sweep the lows, and then scream higher. That could be in the game plan as well too, which we're going to see the exact opposite in the euro. We're going to see them run these highs here and then sweep down and continue lower, and then we'd be looking obviously for 117.10. It'd be lower than 117.10 obviously, but that would be the target on the week. So that's what I'm sort of watching for here right now. So let's see. I'll get rid of this here. Let's see that. See what it wants to do here. I'll stay with you guys here for maybe another minute or two and just kind of watch this. I want to see if they have any willingness to get lower than this line right here. And if they do, like I say, we could be looking at these levels here getting swept. And typically if they sweep a level, they're going to run anywhere from... It could be a sweep of like a couple of pips, like you see down here. They came down, ran the low by like 1 or 2 pips, and then rejected and screamed higher. That's sort of what you got to take into account. But more times than not, it's usually a sweep of about 10 pips. So I'm just going to put that in here. So 147, or 147, and 157. Sorry, 37. So I was just kind of talking to myself here, guys. So that's 10 pips. So if we put a level off of this line here, and we say, okay, price comes down and hits there, I'd be looking for them to sweep anywhere in there. I don't think 20 pips will get tagged. That would be quite a bit. Just refine this a little bit. 48, 38, and that'd be 28. This would be a pretty significant stop run of 20 pips. But if price wants to run down, and again, if it gets through this purple line right there, I'll be looking for them to sweep those stops in here, and anywhere from here to anywhere below that, I'd be looking for it to sweep it and then to continue higher, and only because they're coming down low so quickly and aggressively right now, that kind of leads me to believe that they're going to run these under here and take everybody out who was long, take them out of the market, and then just continue it higher. So we're going to wait and see sort of what's going to happen here as price develops. I'll stay with you guys here for a few more minutes, like I say, and then I am going to get running because it has been a very long day for me today, and I need to get some sleep. But I'm hoping, like I say, to be in front of the markets with you guys a little bit more readily this week. And I apologize for last week. If you're part of our membership group, again, last week I was taken away from the markets from some personal issues, so I'm hoping to make up for some lost time on this week on that. But we'll just sort of have to wait and see here. See what we got to transpire. Now, what else can we look at here while we're waiting for this price to do its thing? Pound Swissy. I had somebody talking about this last week, I think it was. I was calling some levels on it. I don't have the levels on this chart anymore, unfortunately. But there's kind of some ideas that I'm looking at here. There's the old highs. This is going to come in conjunction. If we see further weakness on the pound dollar, we're going to see further weakness in here, which means this low in here could get ran. Anyway, that's just kind of what I was looking at. NZD, I sent out a signal on Kiwi actually a little while ago, and we did see continue a small push lower, but really not a whole lot to talk about in here. Sort of chopped sideways. And this is one pair, the Aussie, I haven't actually looked at in a while. This thing had a real nice sell-off here. Ever since January, this thing just has not looked back and just kept dumping. Just ran this short-term low in here, so I'm going to run out to a weekly. You can see here how price though has been very, very bullish on the week, and we had just price come up, pop above the old high in here, a pip or two, and ran south. One of two things is going to happen here. This is either just a stop run, and they're going to start running higher, like, and basically a trend line trap. Everybody here is trading on the trend line, is thinking, oh, this thing's going to bounce off of here and trade higher, and then they just went and stopped everybody out, only to reverse it and run higher. But this is trading very, very nicely in conjunction with the pound dollar. Go over here with the U.S. dollar. You can see the nice push that the U.S. dollar has been making in as of late. Aussie should be doing the same thing in reverse, and you can see it's exactly what it's been doing. So it's been playing out very, very nicely. A nice range in there as well too, from that old high down to where it's at, 630 pips, and since about the beginning of the year here. So nice movement in there. I would definitely be looking at the Aussie to start to slow its momentum, going south here pretty soon. And if that is the case, if it does start to slow its momentum, then we may not see this dollar rally push too much higher. And if that is the case, if the dollar does just keep screaming higher, then we could see this run lower and lower and lower, which is what they could do. I mean, you look at this, and they really have not come back to clean up much of the liquidity. You can see here, this hasn't been ran. This hasn't been ran. They almost did. They almost ran it down in here, but they failed. This you can see here, this came just a bit lower than this low in here. And then obviously a ton of liquidity under there as well too. So if you are an Aussie trader, just keep in mind, if we do see that strength in the US dollar, they could keep pushing this lower, and I'd be looking at these targets in here. If I can get any of these. Give me this price tag. So this could certainly be on the horizon, for this next in-term, maybe even this week, 73.20 level, that could definitely be in this week here trading. That'd be an easy level for it to hit. That's only about 170 pips away. That's an easy week range for the Aussie dollar. So if you are an Aussie trader, just keep that in mind. If we do see dollar strength, that they could continue to run this thing south, and we may not see that failure swing that I was discussing. And the only reason I discussed a failure swing last week, I knew price was going to come down here and potentially sweep this low here, which it did last week, but I was anticipating a run below and then a failure swing and then a run higher to continue this upward trajectory. But again, if we do see the US dollar start to move higher, then that will negate that idea, and we will see this eventually continue to run off. So anyway, that's Aussie dollar. I'm not going to go into yen at all. I don't trade that pair. So if there's any yen traders, I apologize. You'll have to wait until Wednesday, New York Open, because Dave does trade the UJ and does it quite well. I'm impartial to what this thing's going to do, higher, lower. It's just kind of been ugly, and really what sort of turned me off of it was this trading in here. Not a whole lot that I really liked in there, really wanted to talk about. It finally broke lower, just briefly broke lower, and came back down to this, the old consolidation level in here, and then rejected off of it. So with that being in mind, them rejecting at this level here, and rejecting so strongly as well too, this thing could continue to run higher. And if we look at a monthly on this, it has been a very, very, very bullish market. As you can see here from these run-ups, nice little retrace in here just to clean up the stops, and then another nice retrace here, trade down this old consolidation level, and we could see price run higher on this pair. But again, I don't do any real US yen trading. Price just ran the stops in there and rejected. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of levels under price, under these swings under here. That could be a draw on price for sure. And they may, but could just be bouncing between these two price levels in here as well too, right? Price ran up, seeing a failure, consolidate, ran back down, bounce higher, could bounce lower at the current levels because the price did hit a significant level in here. So we'll just have to sort of wait and see. I actually wouldn't be surprised. I'm talking about the yen, and I don't trade this very much, but if ever at all. But if you are a yen trader, you could see something like this occur, just as an FYI. They could ram price back down and then reject and then continue higher. That could be something on the forecast here for the week, so just keep that in mind. And that would actually coincide with what I was sort of looking at on the US dollar too, right? If we see dollar run these lows under here and then reject and run higher, that's exactly what you'd see happen on the US yen. And this could be the precursor. This could be them tipping their hand saying, well, all these pairs are running south. US dollar has failed to do that yet, and then they eventually catch up with this and dump all the rest. So anyway, that's kind of that. Price really isn't doing anything. I mean, look at the range that it's in here. Again, sitting right around that 50% range on the day. See that? Right about the 50% level. So kind of curious if they didn't get back down into these lows in here and they just kind of stopped the price right there and rejected 20 pips or so. So I want to see them come up through here, and I want to see what happens. And this is on the Euro USD, guys. I know I'm kind of flip-flopping around between pairs right now, but I want to see if there's any rejection up in here, any unwillingness to continue higher. Then we'll be looking for these lows to get ran and this low to get ran, and then ultimately, like I say again, on the week, I'd be looking for this potentially as a target, which is about 200 pips away. So nice weekly run on the euro dollar. Yeah, see, that was last week's range, about a 220 pip range on the euro dollar. And if this does see any rejection here, that's about the same, about 220 pips on the downside for another run south. So we'll see what happens. But seeing how price has been in this nice big consolidation area, I would expect them to expand price and continue. I mean, they could consolidate it from here for sure. They could go, sideways for the rest of the week and not do much this week. But I'm saying, long term, right? I mean, we could see some nice expansion happening in this. Typically, when they see these areas of consolidation, they're just winding price up, and they're gathering a ton of positions, and then they explode the price in one direction or another, and they really clear out some big trading ranges. So just keep that in mind. But so far, prices ran up, ran back down, now we're running back up. Doesn't want to make up its mind. On the euro, what's the pound doing? Any better? Oh, there we go. Seeing some nice manipulation on the pound. Look at that. Nice rip higher. So I want to see them. So what I'd be looking for here, I don't necessarily okay, so let me just extend this guy here. Run that out. Okay. And I want to see if they want to have any willingness to get higher than that level there. And if they do, I'll be looking to see how high they want to run it. I'd be looking for about a 10 pip run. 135.85, 135.95. Okay, so that's about 10 pips right there. So that's kind of about the extent of where I'd like to see them. Let me just shrink this down here. So if they do run it higher, I'd be looking to see their willingness to continue higher than that. If I see some failure in here, I'd be looking for a wick and then a drop, and then I think we could see lower prices. So what's this doing here? Really dropping that quickly. Euro GBP is dropping as well too. And if they do go long, now here's the other thing. So if they do go long and start to really run price and run price above here, higher, and these are the weekly targets that we're looking at, then what I'm going to do is I'll wait for price to retrace back down to this level in here, and then I will See if they want to take it lower. Sorry, take it higher. So basically just kind of run the stops here, which they just did, and then retrace just slightly down to about the highs in here, somewhere in and around this area here, and then retest and then reject and run higher. So if you're looking at this right now with me, you don't have to worry about missing a position, because it's there's lots of time. So just watch price play out here for a minute. There's no rush in trading. The worst thing you can do is ever rush a trade, let me tell you. That's some nice expansion on that. Look at the range that they expanded off of. Just a 40 pip rip out of nowhere. That's manipulation right there for you. Just going to sorry guys, I'm just looking at a couple of levels on my demo account here, because I'm going to take a demo trade either way. But like I say, so this was the weekly open. Price so far has failed to breach that. I want to see if price has any willingness. If it wants to soup it, then it's going to obviously run lower than here, and we'll be looking for shorts and you know, a short to continue. So far they're running this high quite nicely. Euro GBP is seeing some real weakness in here as well too. So Euro GBP goes down, pound dollar goes up. Just, you know, and they just swept the low of Monday. I want to see if they have any willingness to reject. See, these great big moves like this, these real quick moves. I mean, that literally took 10 minutes to do that. These are stop runs. These are suspect. And you see how they left all the liquidity above here. Those would be targets going higher. All right, so that's kind of why I'm thinking that. Now, the other thing too, like I say, this is what could ensue right here. You see how they just dropped price and kept dropping it and did not retrace once, except for this tiny little retracement right here. That could be what we're seeing here as well too, and they just keep screaming price down. And then, you know, we see a return back to 87.50, right? That could be what we're seeing here. And if that's the case, then we're going to see a nice run higher on the pound dollar. And we could ultimately, let me just get rid of some stuff on this chart here. We could ultimately be seeing a run higher on this, and I believe if it does, then this level up here, 137.10 basically, I think that's going to be the target moving forward here for the day, which is only about 120 pips away, so easy range for the pound dollar if they do want to manipulate that. So I'm just going to watch this here, watch what price does. So we closed higher than those old highs in here. So what I'm looking for here, guys, is basically if they want to do this and reject, retest these lows and run higher, I'll be looking to get long here. Or if they want, if this was the soup, basically they came up to soup this high, these highs in here, and then they're going to drop it lower. So that's just what I'm looking at here right now. Monday open, trade it off. And basically what I would do if I was trading this with a long idea in mind, I would basically set, if let's say I got long, let's say they ran price down here, I'd give this about a 30 pip stop, and if they wanted to bring price all the way back down under here, I would say, yeah, no, they're probably going to want to go lower, so that would negate that long idea. Obviously, and it wouldn't really run you a whole lot. 30 pips isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. You can easily make that up in one trade if you do get taken out. But again, I don't want to jump into this. I want to see what's going to happen if it trades back to this level right here. If it starts screaming through here, we know that this was the stop run, and we're going to see lower prices. And this, like I say, this is indicative of those types of moves. And the only reason why I didn't short it up here and got into that right away was because of the Euro GBP. I do think there's definitely room below for price to run down to. You look on the daily, and it's a nice move higher. And really, it didn't, from this high to this low here, we really didn't. Let me just bring it to the bodies, just so we keep everything sort of. Price just failed. It hit about the 61% retracement, 62% retracement level and rejected so far. So this could be just a shallow move lower before it continues higher. You can see on the week, though, this thing's just been treading sideways. And 87.50 basically brings us back to the old highs in here, where they could be wanting to come back down to retest and then continue higher. Tons of liquidity above the market here, though. I don't necessarily think that this is going to be the high on Euro GBP. So if, like I say, if this is going to run higher, then it will dump the pound dollar much, much lower. So that's sort of what I'm looking to see pan out here. So far, I don't see price really willing to close and get lower than here. So this may not be a rejection. But price has ran. Like you see this down movement, price has ran, and it would be very, very healthy for a nice retrace higher. We may not be going higher than this level in here or these levels in here and retesting this high anytime soon. We could still be, there's lots of room underneath here for them to come down. Like I say, I think 13300 is definitely going to be a target. But I definitely think after this big retracement, or sorry, this big downward move, that some retracement is in order, and I would love it if they would jam this thing higher. I really would. But I'd like to see them come down a little bit further than what they did before I got on board with that. US dollar still has failed to get down here. Relatively equal lows. I'm just checking out some different data feeds here and getting some levels. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why you always got to look at the different levels. So I've got I'm just going to mark this chart up here, and I'll slide it over into the screen so you guys can see. So this demo account, as you can see, price created a swing low here, and the low came in at, so I can get that level to pop up for you guys. Come on. Okay. It's not allowing me to, it's not bringing up the price chart. Oh, hang on here. On top of I clicked on the damn chart. Just had it. There it is. Okay, so the low came in at 92.48. And then this low came in here at 92.48. So, okay, so 92.487. And then this low here was 92.483. So 0.4 pips. You could call that equal lows on this feed. But what I'm driving at here is you look at this feed now that I've got here, and you can see price came down on this candle right here, and it tagged in low at 92.475. The low here came in, should be 92.475. See that? So exactly equal low. So this is why you got to check your data streams and see sort of what you're getting on both levels. Just to confirm your numbers before you get in. Always nice to have a second opinion. Price is pushing up so far on the US dollar. What's the euro doing here? Euro, same kind of idea here. Nice push higher. So far, failure swinging. Price is really screaming back down quickly on this. Monday created the high up here. So here was the... I'm going to borrow this line here. I don't need it anymore. So here's the open on euro right there. And so far, we traded off from that low very, very nicely. If this open here on Monday gets ran through, then obviously the week is going to finish off much, much higher, and we could see, you know, these highs here getting tagged. So if that's the case and that's where they want to take it, I'd be looking for price to bounce off of this level in here at 1915, 1920. Basically right about in here. We shouldn't see price go much, much lower. Big rejection up here. Look at that. So now I just want to wait and see if they want to go much lower than that. Really, the line in the sand would be right down here. See this consolidation range in here? 65, you could call it, somewhere right around there. They don't want to go any lower than that. Then I'd be looking for a continuation higher. If they do start to pierce this level and want to go lower, then we can get short. And again, lots of time to get in because there's a huge, huge move coming up here of a couple hundred pips. So you just got to wait for them to confirm where price is going on the week. Now, again, the pound dollar may not be one you want to look at this week as well, too, because, right, I mean, you look what it's been doing the past couple of days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It really hasn't made a whole lot of ground. Same kind of thing it did in here, where it traded about 3 days straight sideways, and then it finally started to drop, and then consolidated for a day or two, and then dropped. We've been really in an extended consolidation period with this pair, so you may not even want to trade the pound dollar. You may be focusing on the euro USD, because price has been following the US dollar quite nicely, actually. So far, a rejection right there. Not as much on the US dollar yet. If price was going to... I don't see... Here's the thing. I don't like to see... Let's say this does go lower. They run price up, and then 1, 2, 3 big down candles. I'd like to see them at least come back up and retest this level in here. Somewhere right in this level before they fell off. So I want to see a bit of a retracement higher and then go south. Them just to come and jam this candle up right in here really doesn't tell me, give me a whole lot of clue as to exactly what they want to do. I think we could, yeah, I'd at least want to see them traded up into here. Same type of idea on the euro. I'd like to see them trade. This one here actually traded a little bit more fluidly than what the US dollar has done. The US dollar skipped price. You see this? How they jammed it down in here and then jammed it down. They haven't returned back up in here. The euro has done that very nicely, actually. They traded in, traded back down in the consolidation range here, back down, and away they go. So I'm gonna watch maybe another candle here and see what they want to do. But then I think from there, we can formulate an idea as to which way they're gonna be taking this thing. I like higher, I really do. You know, just like I say, going out on the dollar, you can see dollar has just been screaming higher. I definitely think there's a lot of levels under here that they want to run it, and I'd love to see them come back down under here. But so far, I'm not 100% convinced. I was hoping they would have pushed down here and we would have seen this, but that didn't happen. So that actually leads me to believe if they don't they came down, dropped it down very quickly, and then they started to retrace here. If we lose this candle, and so this candle does not close up into here, and the next subsequent candles continue lower, then I'll be looking for this and potentially this low here and down to here get ran in the next day or two on the US dollar. Ultimately, this should be great in here. I'm going to put a price tag on this. Love to see them reject price down to the 192.15, 92.15 level. And lower would be great too, and really clean up a lot of this liquidity sitting under the market here. But the problem is, I mean, rule number one of trading is you should be trading with the trend. Yes, there's intraday and intra-week movements that you can get in the opposite direction of the overall market bias. The US dollar is bullish, okay? I typically do not like to short pairs that are this bullish. I'm not going to sit here and claim to you that I can pick the tops. Like, maybe this was the high, and we're never going to see that high get breached again, and price is going to trade lower. I'm not going to pick that high. I'm going to wait for price to trade off, come back down and retest those levels, and then look at getting short. But I'm long on this, okay? And I think they're going to take price higher, and ultimately I think they're going to sweep price up into here. What I would be looking for, though, is a retracement to come back down and then get long. So same type of idea on the euro, right? This is bearish. I don't know why you would want to think that this necessarily is the low, right? But, you know, I would love to see it if they traded up here and they came back down up to these levels in here. See this candle right in here, if they traded back up to that level there, again, I mean, you know, swing trader gets short and dump it, and I think 117 is going to get hit. But I'm not going to sit here and claim that I can pick the bottom and say, okay, everyone get long, and we're going to run price up. Yeah, it could be an intra-week run higher for sure. I'd love to see that happen, and then a failure at this level in here, like I had said. Because you could trade it for sure, but I'm not a huge counter trend trader is basically what I'm trying to drive at here. So nice rejection on that candle though. Pound dollar still kind of sitting there rejecting. Well, let's do this. I'm going to pull my demo account out and let's take a look. See at the pound dollar. I like trading the pound personally. Like I say, a lot of guys trade the euro. I'm more of a pound trader personally. I like the levels on the pound. I'm just going to put a small entry in here. Nothing too serious. I typically trade on the demo account. I think this one here is around 5,000. I'll typically only trade a fraction of that. Just, you know, again, your demo account, what you're doing in your demo account should be exactly what you're doing in your live account. You should not be packing the risk on or anything like that in your demo. It should all just be the same boring stuff in your live account and in your demo, and it's just consistent gains throughout the month that increase your ultimate account value. And so if you trade a fraction, for instance, let's say you only risk 3% of your overall trading account on any given trade, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing exactly the same thing in your demo accounts. Just, you know, FYI. So that's all I do. So anyway, I don't, again, this is just, I started with a $5,000 balance on this demo account, you know, a little while ago, and that's pretty much all I keep it at, and so I just trade accordingly. So usually about a half a lot is typically what I'll put in for this. Now, if the price gets up to 20, 30, 40, 100 grand, obviously, then, you know, right, you trade accordingly, but you ultimately, you don't want to, if you have a series of bad trades, you obviously don't want to that to affect your account. I mean, if you have a series of bad trades, one, if you have 3 losing trades in a row, stop trading, wait for the market to level out, and then obviously, you know, pick your setups a little more cautiously, but you should be definitely dialing back your risk. So me personally, for my trading plan, if I go in and if I take a loss, I'll typically dial the risk back the next trade that I take. And if I lose that trade, again, it's 3 strikes you're out sort of thing for the week. I haven't had a losing 3 trades in a week, and God knows how long. But if I do get to my 3rd trade and I've lost the first 2, then I really dial the risk back on the 3rd trade. Going into the next one, because the last thing you want is to continue using. Let's say you trade at a half a lot, half a lot the first trade, half a lot the second trade, half a lot the third trade. That's going to significantly degrade your account value, and the name of the game is capital preservation. So you definitely want to reduce your trading size if you do have losing trades until you start getting some winners. And then that's when you make all your account value up. So anyway, I'm just kind of rambling on. I'm just waiting for price to do something in here. It's just kind of sitting there right now. I do like the idea of a long. And again, we're starting to kind of see some rejection in here on the pound dollar, the euro. I'm kind of flipping back between charts here. Let me just make my life easier. There we go. Got it right there. Okay. Let's just do this here. Make my life a little easier. There. Watch this. Price a little bit more. What the hell is this? Huh. Okay. That's a little bit easier to watch price. So again, this is just my demo account. So I'm just waiting to see what price is going to do in here. If we see rejection on the US dollar here lower, and we see rejection on the Euro USD higher, then we'll be seeing this continue higher as well too. And this could just be a breakout retest of these highs here, and then continue long. So if we start to lose these levels in here, I'll be looking to see what price does right in here. And if we lose that, then we'll be going short, and I'll be looking at again, I'll be looking at them to sweep these lows shorter here. So that's sort of how I trade. I don't rush into trading. You look at it, you see them, you see that rejection there. They came up, they ran those stops up there, and so far they've rejected. So I want to see if that continues or not. But if these push lower, if the US dollar pushes lower, it will run this higher. So this could just be a breakout retest entry play. And again, the pound dollar. So if this was doing this, if this did this on the downside, so let's say you just took this chart and flipped it in the reverse, and they just ran, and just were in this small consolidation area, and they ran price down, and they were coming back up to retest, let's say these areas in here, I'd be getting all over that for a short. I would be, because you're trading in the same direction as the overall trend, which is obviously bearish, right? But I'm right now looking at something counter trend trading for price to run higher for the interim, right? So I'm looking to see if they want to keep running price higher in here. So when you're going counter trend, you definitely want to be taking your time, waiting for confirmation, and waiting to see what they're doing here. That was the wrong time frame. Because again, I'm not suggesting that this was the low in here that they created. This is what, a 15-minute chart. Look at this on That's interesting. The cable, what I'm looking at here is the cables run the highs from Friday. You see here, this was Friday. Cable ran those highs. Euro USD though, these are Friday. This is the high on Friday. Nowhere near any of those highs, obviously, as you can see. Let's go to hourly. No, I'm not necessarily saying that the euro and the pound trade exactly the same or anything like that, but very, very shallow retrace higher. Whereas this one just ran the highs of the previous 2 days trading, whereas this did not. Where's my zoom? Kind of find that interesting. A little bit of manipulation on those two pairs. They're in a big hurry to run price up. And now they're just sitting here. Oh. Hey guys, could you just give me 30 seconds? I'm just going to run up and grab a drink because my throat is killing me. Give me 2 seconds and I will be right back. Sorry for the delay. Sorry about that, guys. Just had to get a quick refreshment. Okay, what are we doing in here? Okay, so we're starting to see a little bit of rejection in here. So I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do, put a small long order, and we'll just do a market. I'm going to do a stop of 30. 135, 57, 70, so we'd be about 80. So about 50 ish. Take profit. Let's see here. Let's see where my levels are. There we go. 3,700. Kind of the level that I like on the upside. So that could be a nice little trade higher. 37. Again, sorry guys, if you guys don't trade the pound, I know some people don't trade the pound dollar. I like to trade the pound dollar. If you're more of a euro trader, I'll show you some levels to look at if long is the play here going forward for the week. Okay, So I'm going to get in on a long order here. And if price comes back down, I really don't want to even see. So this is 30 pips from the entry. So whatever my spread was there, I think it was a couple of pips spread difference. So I'm looking at really if price trades back down to this consolidate, like if we lose this low here, I really wouldn't permit price to go any lower than this consolidation level right here, where I'd say, well, no, probably not going to do what we thought it was going to do. And so really the line in the sand for me would be about, like if the lows here, if this low got taken out at 155, that's a bad color, I can't see that. 1 second. There we go. 135.58, 135.60 really. We'll call it 60. That would sort of be the level that I'd be watching, where I don't want to see price go really any lower than that. I do again have my stop down here at 135.50, and I think my entry was about 135.80, somewhere in and around there. So I just want to wait on confirmation. But my target is 137.00 even. So don't know that we're going to trade up there, but what I see here is price opening up here, trading off of it very quickly, coming back down and creating the low potentially on Monday, and really we haven't seen any movement lower, real willingness to continue to get back down there. I think if price was going to drive lower, it would have done it on this drive here. And they would have ran stops on this run up, and they didn't. They sunk it back down just to scoop up some liquidity here and then take it higher. And so far, like I say, haven't really seen a lot of willingness to continue so far. Now, what I could have done, I could be jumping the gun a bit. They could want to run this lower. They could. And I think, if I was trading this in a live account, I probably would have waited for another candle or two to give me a confirmation on an entry, but I do like sort of how they're really not showing any real willingness to come back lower. So I think going forward we could see some of these levels getting tagged. 1 second, guys. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, that's kind of what I was thinking about on the pound dollar. But I'm not going to sit here too much longer and watch this trade. Going to see what it wants. Yeah, see, I say that as soon as I go long and out, it just rejects. But like I say, we've got our levels. Not risking a whole bunch. This is, again, this is a demo account. It doesn't cost me anything. We're just practicing here and trading. And you should be as well. None of the stuff that I'm doing here should constitute as live trade advice, obviously. But I kind of like what it's doing in here, for long. And I'm not a big counter trend trader, I'm really not. But I just see all the levels in here and all of the down movement that it's had. I would not be surprised if they come up and just sweep these highs in here. And really the level that I'm looking at is 137.00, and that would convincingly get above here and then potentially reject. This could be the low that they're putting in, but I highly doubt it. This doesn't look like a failure swing. On a daily, it kind of does, actually, in hindsight, but so they came down, jammed it up, came down, jammed it up, came down, pushed it up. I'd definitely like to see them go a little bit longer. And if they do want to move this lower long term, I'd definitely like to see them come up and grab some of this liquidity higher if that is the case. So anyways, that's that, guys. yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to discuss. Watch this trade to pan out here. I think I've talked long enough for one day. Again, look, real quick, guys, I'm going to say it one last time. If you have any questions, throw it in the chat. And I will get your questions answered here. If you give me 30 seconds. So I just got to take out a quick trade idea here, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so anyway, like I say, that's just kind of an idea I'm looking at. And so I'm asleep since 9. I think I'm going to call this trading session a day. I apologize, guys, if I sound a little off my game. It's been an interesting week for me, and I'm just sort of getting back in the swing of things on the markets, and you know, this trade idea, this could be wrong. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting you go out and bet the farm on it, but I sort of told you my reasons and what I'm looking at, and there is a ton of news coming out on the cable as well too on Thursday, right? So I think that's where we might see some of this stuff pan out. Sorry, 1 second here. Derek is just asking me a quick question. 135.80. Yeah. What did I put in? Did I put something else in? Oh, yeah. One second here, guys. Oh, what is going on? That's weird. I can't. For some reason. Come on. There we go. That's weird. Just found a glitch in my chat room software. For whatever reason. 135.80. There we go. For some reason it wouldn't let me edit a post that I put in on my computer, my desktop, but it let me do it on my phone, which is weird. Anyway, so I blabbled enough here, guys. Don't see any questions in the chat, so I'll assume you guys are comfortable with everything. Again, these are just my trading ideas, my opinions. Feel free to fade me at your leisure. However, just before you do that, just note that at this signal service company that we've got at F45 Trading, we have definitely managed to rack in some serious numbers here for the month of for this year. And last year, actually, we averaged about from September. I started everything here in September of last year, so September, October, November. Didn't really do any December trading, Managed to rack up about, what was our final number? I think it was 750, 800 pips, something like that. I don't remember what the final count was. And then January was really nothing to speak of. And March wasn't very good either, but February and April were breakout months. We killed the markets. I think we did over 300 or 400 pips combined in both months combined. Each month. So we're up to just over 500 pips, I think, on the year. So, minus a little bit of drawdown on in January and in March, we're over 250, 300 pips for the year. So, not too bad. But anyway, just kind of keep that in mind. Like I say, fade me if you'd like, but typically a lot of the calls are pretty spot on. And again, the only reason I look at this and I say, well, I'm not 100% sure on the trade is just because, again, counter trend trading. I'm not suggesting that this is the low last Friday, but so far we have really failed to get any lower on the week. This could be the high. This could be the high of the week right here, and price could just dump off from here. That's fine. I'm not risking a whole bunch. It's only 20% of a lot, and I'm well under my risk tolerance on this. So, we're just obviously looking at price and practicing here and seeing where it goes. Now, if price on the US dollar, if this is, you see how it's come back down in here, it's really failing to go lower in here. If this starts pushing higher, it's going to push this lower. So just keep that in mind. We may not get the run that we're looking for in this, and I wouldn't necessarily permit this to go any lower either. Like I say, this is pretty much the line in my sand. In the sand, I wouldn't even suggest it goes lower than that. If price goes lower than 135.60, then like I say, I'm not going to be interested in it, and I'll close that before it actually takes out the full stop. So anyway, I'm going to watch this. That's about it, guys. Thanks very much for joining. Like I said, I'm a little off my game today, just because I had such a crazy week last week. I'm just sort of getting back into the markets. But this week here, I'm going to hopefully make up for lost time. So I'll see about jumping on to several live trading sessions going forward for the week. And for sure, like I say, I'll be definitely doing New York Open. Is it New York Open? What's the news on Thursday? I'll be back Thursday for sure. And I might do another short trading session between now and Thursday. Bulk majority of the news happens 7 a.m. on Thursday, New York time. So what I might do is just jump on about 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the 7 a.m. New York time on Thursday, and do a live trading session. I'm not trading anything, obviously, on Thursday on cable, but I just sort of want to see that price manipulation happen. And Dave, of course, will be with you Wednesday, New York Open. He'll be trading all his usual suspects, S&P 500, gold, and UJ. So you can obviously look forward to that. And he'll be back again on Friday doing the same thing as well. But like I say, I'll definitely be doing Thursday pre-pound dollar news release. And I might even get in a session. Maybe I'll do a Wednesday London Open, this time tomorrow. I might look at doing as well too. So just kind of keep that in mind going forward. That's sort of what I'm thinking about doing, just to kind of, like I say, make up for last week, which was really it was NFP week last week, so obviously there wasn't a whole lot going on anyway. But as I said, it took me out. My personal stuff had to take me out of the markets starting pretty much as of Wednesday, all of Wednesday last week. So I'm really sort of missing trading and getting back in here with you guys. So I'll be definitely on the charts this week going forward. So anyway, thanks if you've been listening to me thus far. I see a couple of new people just jumped in here. Thanks for coming in. Unfortunately, I'm wrapping up. You can catch this on the replay. Just click down here in the bottom right-hand corner for my logo, just right above the F45 Trading here. You'll see my logo. Click on that, hit subscribe, and you'll get updates, instant updates as to when we go live on our next sessions. And like I said, we do anywhere from 3 to 5 or 6 live trading events on any given week, just depending on what's happening on the week. So we like to be right in front of the markets with you guys, trading along with you, and It really helps doing it live. Hopefully it'll help some of you trading. So thanks for joining us on the day, and we will catch up to you more than likely tomorrow. Take care.